Alright guys, so we got to talk about an update on the Twitter situation, where if you guys didn't know, Elon Musk banned a whole lot of liberal journalists who he says were doxing his location in real time on the app, which he sees as an incitement of violence. He sees that as an open invitation for people to try to assassinate him, and he's saying that in the light of his son being stalked and followed and his car being attacked by some Antifa-like lunatic. Again, Elon Musk is a billionaire who decided that, hey, you know what, I'm going to try to be pro-free speech, and I believe in it so much that I'm going to spend $44 billion on a losing company like Twitter in order to do it, and the left lost their minds. And in response to that, the left feels like it's okay to stalk Elon Musk, even to stalk his son. And Elon Musk made it clear that you can't do that. You can't post my real-time location on Twitter. I consider that to be doxing. Now, specifically, he's talking about his private jet, which does participate in a privacy program. However, that data is readily and easily available, even though it's not necessarily public. It is easy for the public to get access to, considering that he's only one of a few people who actually fly a Gulfstream jet. So even if he is anonymous, okay, because he participates in this program, because of the jet that he flies and where it flies from, it's pretty easy to figure out which jet is his. So when the left comes out here and they argue that it's publicly available information, that's actually very disingenuous. It's not true. It's not publicly available. It's just easy to figure out. And people make that publicly available because it's easy to figure out. Those are two different things, okay? So they're definitely putting out private information. It's just private information that is easy to find, right? And it's, to me, it's almost like the same as an address. It's not hard to find somebody's address on the internet if you have enough information. But that doesn't mean that it's okay to post somebody's address on some social media app when you have hundreds of thousands of followers, just because, well, I found it on the internet, right? I did enough Google searching to find it, therefore I'm gonna post it. I'm pretty sure every left-wing journalist that is complaining about this would be opposed to that. They would be kicking and screaming and crying if people were posting their actual home address. They would say that is doxing. But for whatever reason, posting Elon Musk's real-time location, following his jet around, just because it's easy to find on the internet, oh yeah, that's totally fine. You just got to deal with it. You're a snowflake, right? You're a snowflake according to the left. So, of course, these people, you know, they cried and they whined and they melted down all weekend long, okay? The mainstream liberal media lost their minds, okay? They're still losing their minds. They can't get over the fact that they actually got banned from the Twitter app. And I'm going to tell you guys, there's so much cognitive dissonance going on here. It just absolutely blows my mind. It's absolutely amazing, okay? And I think that this situation really does reveal the difference between the left and the right. And there's some good things and there's some bad things that I want to talk about and point out for you guys. Because I'm going to tell you, these people on the left, they truly don't have any principles. They don't stand for anything. They are ruthless people who only care about power and control. And that's just the reality of what we're dealing with here. And I think this situation right here kind of proves it. So I want to talk about it because Elon Musk has responded to the backlash with a Twitter poll about whether or not he should unban the suspended journalist. And I want to talk about the results of that poll. But first, I actually want to play a clip from Chris Haynes' show on MSNBC in which he had Aaron Rupert, who is a progressive independent journalist who got banned from Twitter for doxing Elon Musk. I want you guys to listen to that conversation about this ban, because I think that this conversation really does tell you how the left has so much cognitive dissonance when it comes to this issue. It's just absolutely insane and mind-blowing. Take a look.
And it took interacting with reporters who were talking to a number of myself and then other people who had been banned to piece together hours later that it had to do with posting a link to the Facebook page for the Elon Jet account, which you were just talking about. That apparently hours after I posted a tweet just noting that even though the account was banned on Twitter, it was still alive on Facebook. Elon declared that to be a violation of their terms of service this, and then the next day banned me. So it took multiple hours even after that to hear anything from Twitter. I eventually did hear from one of their trust and safety officials confirming that the link to the Facebook page was the cause of me being banned. I've been led to believe that the ban is temporary and that at some point will be reinstated. Of course, there's a poll that Elon has on his account right now asking people whether we should be reinstated immediately or in a week. So I'm hopeful that eventually we'll get our accounts back. But yeah, I was as shocked as anyone to see that this apparently rose to the level of being suspended from Twitter.
You know, it's funny. For years, there has been this complaint from people on the right about Twitter. They basically, the critique goes like this. Twitter was run by a bunch of liberals who enforced their liberal bias in who got to be on the site and who got banned. It sort of pretended to be a neutral arbiter, but was actually on the side of liberals, and kept banning conservative accounts they didn't like. And Elon Musk is one of the people that subscribes to precisely that critique. In fact, has gone to great lengths to make that critique. And as far as I can tell, basically, the idea here is to take over Twitter and do exactly in reverse what the accusation is that the previous owners did, as far as I can tell. What do you think?
Yeah, and that's kind of a depressing thing is that, Twitter has been so valuable for myself and probably for you, I'm sure, as well, in networking with other journalists, in, getting perspective from people who you wouldn't normally speak to. And, in the previous era, there was kind of a sense that it had a rules-based order that, if accounts were suspended, there was a way to appeal. And I'll note that the link to appeal my suspension is broken on Twitter, which I thought was very on brand, that if you want to appeal, there's no way to do that, using the proper channels. And so I actually had to email one of the trust and safety people finding their email address independently of that. But, there was this sense that things kind of made sense and that, it was almost kind of a quasi public institution of a sort, even though, of course, it's a private company. And now I think what this shows yesterday is that, of course, the terms of service are basically whatever Elon wakes up and wants them to be on a given day. And if they want to ban someone like myself, who, I really had no investment in this Elon jet thing. I just thought it was newsworthy when it was banned from Twitter that it was still active on Facebook, because I think that kind of spoke to Elon being, this purported free speech and robust speech advocate. And yet, information that's publicly available was too sensitive for him to allow on Twitter, even though it was still allowed on Facebook. So, it's unfortunate to see what's happening with Twitter. And I guess we'll all have to make our individual decisions about when to cut bait, and when it's no longer worth kind of sticking around on there.
Yeah, so we're going to talk more about that interview. But first, I want to just give the news here that Elon Musk has lifted the suspensions of the journalists after doing a poll, right? He asked people, what should he do? Should he unsuspend the accounts who dox his exact location in real time? Most people said yes, 3.6 million votes. And that's what he did. I think he did it for everybody except Keith Olbermann, right? As he is actively engaging in ban evasion, okay, by tweeting from his dog's account. So maybe he won't get his account restored because, again, he's violating other rules. And then he'll complain about it and say that, well, Elon Musk is targeting him because he's, a liberal or whatever. But notice how the leftist trolls, I guarantee you, none of them are going to be complaining about the bots, right? They're not going to be complaining about the bots anymore, okay? Because apparently the bots, right, they're not a problem when it benefits them, okay? I guarantee you won't have any complaints about that. So here's what I think. This is a prime example of the difference between liberals and conservatives. Liberals in a situation like this would have extended no grace, no mercy whatsoever to any right-wing account that was banned for doxing, right? They would not have been supportive of that person being unbanned. They would not have been. I mean, look at the outrage that came from him unbanning Trump for incitement of violence, even though we know that Trump technically did not break the rules at Twitter about incitement of violence. They made it up. They made it up. We know that from the Twitter files, which is exactly why that conversation between Chris Haynes and Aaron Rupert was so disingenuous. It is so frustrating because these people are actually on TV talking about this situation in such a way that, again, is so ignorant. It really just blows my mind because Chris Haynes is acting like this is a reverse situation of, well, Elon Musk is letting his political bias get in the way of his enforcement of the rules, and he's just out here trying to ban left-wing journalists the same way that the right accused Twitter under the old regime of just, having bias against conservatives and just, banning conservatives and people on the right. And it's like, no, that's not what's going on here. Under the old regime, the censorship was done on a political basis. It was done because the company had a left-wing bias. That's why it was done. For example, left-wingers were able to make whatever claims they wanted about the election. Okay, we saw this in the Twitter files. And right-wingers were not. If it was a right-winger making that claim, then they were banned, right? They were suspended, they were punished, they were deboosted, shadow banned, whatever you want to call it. If the left was making that claim, it was like, oh, well, it's understandable because it's from somebody on the left. We know this for a fact that two different accounts can make the exact same statement that technically are a violation of the rules, right? But the enforcement is not equal. The enforcement is based off political bias. That's not what's happening here with Elon Musk. There's no political bias here because, one, Elon Musk is not on the right, he's not on the left. And this right here is Elon Musk suspending journalists, a lot of whom happen to be left-wing, for simply posting his location. It's not like there's unequal enforcement. It's not like, for example, there was a bunch of right-wing journalists that posted that his exact location and he didn't suspend them just because they're on the right. Now, if that what was happening, then they would have a point. But that's not what's happening. But they're sitting on television trying to pretend like that's what it is. Well, Elon Musk is just doing the exact same thing that the old regime did. No, he's not. Elon Musk, I don't think has a political bias here. I think that he has his own beliefs about free speech, and I think he's trying his best considering what he has to work with, considering the fact that he does have to try to make advertisers happy. He can't piss off the media too much, right? Because it's important for those journalists to actually be on the platform, which I think is why he did that poll. He didn't want to suspend him for the whole 7 days. I think he realizes that has to be balanced. But the people who don't want balance are these people on the left. They want everything to be in their favor. That's what they want. And if they don't have complete and total power and control, they lose their minds. You know that you violated the rules. We all know that all of these people that are complaining about this, if the same thing was done to them, especially by journalists on the right with hundreds of thousands of followers, the people that they claim are white supremacists, they're so dangerous, right? They're dangerous people. We all know, again, they would be boohoo whining and complaining. They'd be like, why is this person not banned? Why are you allowing this to happen to me? You're trying to get me killed. I mean, how many times have we heard people on the left for much less serious things, like, for example, misgendering, say, well, you're putting my life in danger. You are trying to destroy the lives of trans people because you don't want to use the proper pronouns. These are the same people who always want to play that card. Well, what you're saying is harmful. Well, what you're saying is dangerous. They want to play that card for the tiniest, disagreement, right? But yet they're complaining about Elon Musk playing that card for a situation in which clearly this guy is a target. And ever since he got into politics, he's become much more of a target than he was before. None of these people took time on their shows to actually talk about the issue of the fact that his son was being stalked and the car was attacked by some left-wing lunatic. They didn't take the time to have that conversation. They don't care because these people believe that it's okay for people to commit acts of violence against those people who disagree with them politically. They feel like it's justified. That's why they're not covering it. That's why they're trying to deflect the conversation to, oh, well, CNN journalists got banned and New York Times journalists got banned. It's like that's actually a side conversation compared to the actual real issue of why in the world is Elon Musk's son being stalked and followed? Why is Elon Musk being stalked and followed? Why does he feel like his life is in danger in the first place? Simply because he has a disagreement with the left, and he doesn't even disagree with the left 100%. More like, I don't know, 30, 40%. Because I think that Elon Musk probably agrees with him maybe 60, 70% of the time. If you actually sit down and ask him about his beliefs. But that doesn't matter to the left. What matters is that he doesn't agree 100%, that he's not 100% bought into the cult. And because he's not 100% bought into the cult, it's okay for his son and him to be stalked. It's okay for him to be doxxed on the platform. If he complains about it, he's a snowflake. He got thin skin. And this is coming from people who have the thinnest skin that we've ever seen. I mean, again, just look at the last 4 years of their rhetoric. Everything to them is dangerous, right? Everything is dangerous that comes from the right to them. Even misgendering, using a wrong pronoun is dangerous. But apparently doxing Elon Musk is not. He's thin-skinned. These people had no issues when right-wing journalists were being banned for political reasons. We know for a fact that that's what happened. But when they get banned, they want to cry foul. They want to boo-hoo whine about it. But it's not even political. It's clearly not a political thing. It's clearly that these left-wing journalists effed around and found out. You can report on the subject without actually posting a link. That's why I'm neither here nor there about Elon Musk extending grace to these people. Because although I think in principle, he should let them back on the platform, and I think it's a good thing that he's unsuspending them. Part of me, because I know that the left would not extend the same type of mercy, I just kind of feel like maybe he should just keep them suspended. Who cares? Give them a taste of their own medicine. But in the long term, I don't think that's good for the platform. Just like I didn't think that the old regime considered suspending conservatives was good for the platform. I don't think it's good for the platform for him to suspend them like that, and to keep them suspended simply because, they dox them or whatever. I think that extending grace, putting them in timeout and extending grace is the right thing to do, even though I know that they wouldn't do the same for us. And I think that is the difference between the right and the left. The left, they're ruthless. They don't have a soul. They don't have any principles. They don't believe in discourse. They don't believe in debate. They don't believe in any of that. They just believe in power and control. And if they don't have 100% power and control, situations like this is what happens, where they're kicking and screaming and boo-hoo whining and complaining and crying as if they're some type of victim when they're not. You're not a victim. You just don't get special rights and privileges like you did under the old Twitter regime. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.